Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on December 7th, 2023. My name is Nick Fry, and I'm the Manager of Business Development with Tourism Nova Scotia. Today's webinar is Empowering Tourism Businesses, AI for Daily Operations. We're really excited you could take the time out of your day to join us, and this is a really hot topic, and it's going to be exciting to see how you can use AI in your business. We will be talking about different softwares today, maybe links and resources. And you know what? You don't need to worry and write it down. We will share after the fact in an email any links or software we talk about. This webinar will be recorded. So if you see something that you want to come back and check out, if you have to run off to a meeting, if you want to share with an industry colleague, please do so. And any past webinars will be available there as well. So, if this is your first time joining us and you think, oh, I'd love to see some of the past webinars, they're available at tourismns.ca/webinar-series. I'm hoping you joined us today through Digiport, and Digiport is offered in partnership with Tourism Nova Scotia and Digital Nova Scotia. And it's a one-stop stop of interactive services, educational opportunities, and it helps tourism businesses develop digital skills, digital marketing skills, and really access professional support that will help you improve your online presence. If you didn't join us today through Digiport, I'd encourage you to go check it out. It's nsdigiport.ca. It's a wonderful resource, and it's the only of its kind in Canada for tourism businesses. So check that out if you haven't done so yet. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Michael MacMillan from MacMillan Search. We've had Michael on some webinars before, and they're excellent. Michael is an SEO expert with over 2 decades in digital marketing, specialized in tackling technical challenges for B2B software and service organizations. Michael really brings a problem-solving mindset and creative approach to every project. Michael helps make things simple that are really difficult for people that don't necessarily work in the SEO world. Michael has advanced significant SEO strategies for major B2B and SaaS companies worldwide. Michael's team become part of the marketing team, so they're not siloed off in an SEO space. They fully integrate themselves with your marketing squad, so it's really helpful. Michael's also a committed mentor and has guided dynamic teams of marketers and rising SEO professionals to help shape the future of the field. So I'm really excited to have Michael here today. He has a lot of information to share, a lot of really valuable information. So Michael, why don't you share your screen and share some of that AI information that we've all been looking forward to learning about.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. All right. Everyone can see my deck there. Okay. So yeah, today we're going to talk about empowering tourism businesses, basically leveraging AI in day-to-day operations. I will caveat this that I play with Chat GPT on a regular basis. I use it for business cases, but I have been generating some images using DALL-E. So these are not my beautiful AI, not my beautiful Photoshop work. A lot of this work has been put together through DALL-E. And again, if anybody's interested in connecting with me, my name is Michael MacMillan. I do SEO. Been doing digital marketing for about 2 years, but the last 10 plus years really focused on SEO. Specialize in tackling complex technical challenges for B2B software and service organizations. My approaches are centered around problem solving and trying to be as creative as possible. We've worked with some of the largest SaaS companies in B2B. I also like working with teams and training up people. Before going out on my own, I built and led the SEO team at Verb, which specializes in hospitality and tourism. Also, when I was younger, worked in hospitality and tourism as well. The guts of I was a ski bum, so I've worked in hotels and restaurants as well, so I got that perspective to bring to this. I like to start off things with this quote from Scott Galloway, because it really resonated with me. It's like, AI is not going to take your job, but somebody who understands AI will. That's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about this. We don't want to get scared of things, that the new and amazing things that are coming up. We want to really embrace them and see where we can leverage these things. Today, we're going to talk about embracing AI, we'll go into addressing AI concerns. We're going to play with some AI tools as well. I've prompted up some Chat GPT prompts with some use cases that we use on a very regular basis. We'll talk about integrating AI, and then just open it up for Q&A. So if anybody's got any questions, you can that'll be your time to talk. I will say when we start talking about, we start going to the AI tools, please feel free to post your questions, because I'm willing to steer this towards where people are interested and what opportunities they're seeing with things. So kicking things off and embracing AI. We're going to talk about just this basic concept. What is AI? Hoping everyone's got probably a broad understanding of what this is, but we'll dig into this a little bit deeper. So artificial intelligence is the use of advanced algorithms and computers to simulate human logic and perform tasks that were traditionally carried out by people. AI learns by analyzing lots of data. For example, by looking at many photos of animals, AI can learn to recognize different animals in a new photo. This is like you learning to recognize different types of cars or birds by seeing them repeatedly. Think about when I was younger, I knew a bird was a bird, but now I can tell what a blue jay is, and I can tell what the sound of a blue jay is. So I wake up in the morning, I hear a bird singing. I'm like, well, is a blue jay? Yeah, I can, because I recognize that sound. And that's something that I've been building over time. AI can do this at scale and very quickly. It can make decisions as well. So based on what it has learned, AI can make decisions. If you're using a music app, AI decides which songs to suggest to you based on what you usually listen to. So if anybody's using something like Spotify, I love to let it just play. I'll start with the song that really resonates with me, or if I'm with my kids, something that resonates with them, and just to see where it'll go from there. And it helps me discover new artists, which I really appreciate. It can also help solve problems. It can solve problems that are too complex or time-consuming for humans to solve quickly. For instance, AI can be used to analyze patterns and weather data to predict the weather. This is where I found a very important use case. We crunch through a lot of data as SEOs as we're providing direction. And sometimes crunching through that data, there's just so much to coordinate, and there's other things that are taking away your knowledge. You can focus an AI on a specific task, and it can do things so much quicker than yourself if you're able to give it the prompts that make sense. And it's improving over time. It's learning. It's like a child. It's one of the unique things about AI is that it gets better the more it's used, and the more information you can feed it, the more data it has, the more accurate it becomes. It's like a recipe that gets better every time you make it as you learn what works best. Everyday use. AI is part of our everyday lives. It's in our smartphones. You may not realize it now, but almost everything you're doing, is particularly in the last year, has some sort of element to AI in it. It's helping you take better photos. It's in video games and creating more challenging gameplay, and even in cars, and with helping with things like safe driving. But it's not a human. It's important to remember that AI isn't a human. It doesn't have feelings or thoughts. A set of computer programs designed by people to perform a specific task, often in ways that mimic human intelligence, but it's still not a human. So some AI concerns. I'm sure everyone's had that moment, especially in the last year, where like, oh, this is it. They're going to take over. We're going to be lost. Who's ever watched Terminator has had that fear in them. So AI might feel new or intimidating, but like, don't stress it. We're a long ways off from the singularity where AI basically takes over and decides that we're useless and it's going to get rid of us. It offers smart solutions, saves time, reducing costs, enhancing customer experience as well. And so from automating customer responses to streamlining bookings, AI can be an efficient assistant. And that's what we're using it for a lot in SEO. It's become sort of that early stage employee that just is running point on things, processing information. So you can focus on the bigger picture. Then you can get AI to dig into the details and pull that out. You still need a human to review those details to make sure it's good. Or we would suggest you have a human review it, or have some sort of process where it has a chance to review. Dig into some basic AI concepts. So artificial intelligence refers to any software that mimics human intelligence through various methods of learning, such as machine learning and deep learning. And then machine learning, it's a subset of AI, involves training algorithms to make predictions or decisions based on input data. Unlike traditional program, machine learning algorithms are trained using large data sets to learn patterns and make decisions. We used to joke in SEO that most of SEO it's just pattern recognition. If you can find a pattern and you can and you know what that pattern's outcome is, you can replicate that, push it out to scale, then you should get a similar return on more pages. Neural networks. A neural network is a set of algorithms used in machine learning that model an AI as a layer of interconnected nodes, loosely based on interconnected neurons in the human brain. And deep learning is a subset of machine learning that uses neural networks with many layers, allowing AI to learn from data representations. So Chat GPT, which is probably the one everyone hears a lot about, especially in the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of news about Chat GPT, more from an organizational structure than anything, but it's based on a neural network architecture and deep learning. So AI tools, moving on to AI tools. All right, great. In our stack, and I've experimented with a handful of tools, and almost every tool I work with right now in our stack has added an AI element. And I have been an early adopter of most of that. I'll even offer to beta test them. What the main three that we're using right now, ChatGPT, which is the one everyone seems to know. It's developed and maintained by OpenAI, uses natural language processing to create human-like conversations, dialogue, to respond to questions, and compose various written content, including articles, social media posts, essays, code, data analysis we've used it for, emails. ChatGPT is a generative AI tool that allows users to enter prompts and receive human-like text created by AI. It's trained with reinforced learning through human feedback and reward models that rank the best responses, which helps improve its future responses. One that may not be on everyone's radar, but we like it quite a bit. I actually started using it when I would tap out on my free version of ChatGPT, was Perplexity AI. So it's an AI-powered conversational search engine designed to provide accurate and relevant search results on a wide range of topics. It offers suggestions and sources in response to user queries and claims to be more accurate than other similar tools. The basic difference between Perplexity and ChatGPT is Perplexity, it cites its sources. And if you're looking for quotes or details on something, you can, it's not just ChatGPT outputting what it's learned from the source. It'll output what it's learned from the source, but it'll point to that source as well. So you can understand when you're, where that comes from. So like that first quote I had, I'd heard that quote in a podcast, but I was looking for a specific, I was looking for the source of that so I could get an image for this presentation. So I went straight to Perplexity and then use that. So I usually have those two open at the same time. Go back and forth because it's nice to see in Perplexity you have the sources so you can cite things. The other tool we've been using quite a bit is Fireflies.ai. It's an AI-powered meeting assistant that transcribes, summarizes searches, and analyzes voice conversations. It uses advanced AI technology to analyze and understand spoken language patterns and accents, particularly good with accents. We work with international teams. Most people will operate in English, but there'll be a varying accents across the world. And when we've played with other transcription tools like Otter, what we have found with Fireflies is it gets transcriptions a whole lot better than Otter did. And then the output's great. And it was one of the early adopters of having a chatbot right in the transcription tool. So after you've had your call with somebody, you let them know. We always let people know, like, I have a virtual bot in here. We don't use this information externally. We only use it internally for learning and summarizing details about the meeting. But Fireflies is in there, and then we'll go into the chatbot after the call. It takes like 15 minutes to get for it to process the transcription, ask it to summarize the meeting. Then we'll ask for action, like, are there any action items from this? And then even like if I'm doing new business development with somebody, I'll go back to Fireflies and say, what was really important to this client? Or if there was a specific thing they brought up, I'll dig into that. And be like, okay, the client mentioned this. Can you provide more details? Or how did they describe their business? So it gives me a better understanding, not only of like the definition of what their business is, but how they see their business from within the organization. And that's sort of some of the use cases we use with that chatbot. Now, other tools like Otter, which we've used as well, have a chatbot now. And it seems that Fireflies is one of those early adopters. Everyone else seems to be following suit, but we're still sticking with Fireflies at this point. I will caveat that ChatGPT does have a free version. We use the paid version mainly because you can upload documents. You get to use 4, which is the more advanced one. I find it's better at processing text and giving you something that reads a little bit more like a human wrote it than sounds like a bot wrote it. I still have to review it. Perplexity, we use the free version. Haven't paid for it yet. Might be paying for it in the new year just because we are using it on a regular basis. Fireflies, we use the paid version. I believe it's about $20-ish US. Same with Chat GPT. So if you're looking to invest in some AI, I would kick things off with Fireflies and Chat GPT, and you'll probably be able to keep things under $50 a month, $50-$60 a month. It's a good place to start before you start throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars into something. All right, so I'm going to go through a couple live examples. I've spun up an instance of ChatGPT. It doesn't have my history in it just because we have, I can't showcase that stuff because of NDAs, et cetera. I'll go, but I did preload this with some examples, and I welcome anybody if they want to add, they have questions as we work through this, or you want to see what it will do. We'll jump into this. So we're going to look at how we use it. First, we'll kick off with email communications. So this is a regular one I use it. I'm not a strong writer. I do not come from a writing or journalism background. I come from more of a data technical background, but communications is very important, specifically when you're working with remote teams and you're trying to get clear direction to people, but also just understand being able to reply to clients. So this is an example of a reply that we've done. We've removed any specific things. So when I get an email and I'm about to reply to it, I'll prompt ChatGPT, and I am using 4 for this, so the paid version in here. So I have the following question from a potential client. And this is straight from the email with just the details pulled out. So some of our SEO pages look like X. I want to add a unique identifier to the URL Y, such that the URL will not work without the unique identifier. For example, and this is the client's direction for the problem they're dealing with. For this page, for the example, this page will not work if you do not pass it into the ID, blah, blah, blah. We won't get into all the details of that. But there's a very specific technical request from the client. And with this follow-up, and let me know if my suggestions to him, this is continuing to be. So this part here is actually the email. So let's just ignore that. But I have the following question from a potential client. And then I write underneath this, how is this reply to their email? Bear in mind that I'm not engaged, but hope to work with them. So this is a client that I'm doing business discovery with or development with. I'm not in an engagement. I will like having that caveat because I don't want to get too involved. I don't want to give too much away for free, but I still want them to understand that I'm an expert in the field, excuse me. And please provide analysis and suggest an email back. And then this is what I churned out. So this is actually just a stream of consciousness for me. I just went through and started writing down stuff. As for URL, I can appreciate trying to reduce a request, blah, blah, blah. So I go into this full explanation of things. It's not as clean. And what I really want to do is make sure I've covered everything in that email. And then it comes through with an analysis. Now, I always ask it for an analysis because I'm not a strong writer, but I want to be a better writer. And I read through this analysis as well. The goal isn't just necessarily for ChatGPT to take over my job. I want it to help me work through this. So it can go through and analyze my tone and approach. Your tone is friendly and professional, which is suitable for this context. You can even upload details of how you like to be presented in the settings in 4. Beginning with a positive note with the meeting sets a good tone, technical insights. So we want them to understand that we're an expert. Additional solutions, great. We've handled their specific query, so what they're actually asking about, and we've requested access. So we had a request for access to tools so we can understand this is part of the engagement. So we're using this to kind of get more details. And it turns out, sometimes with ChatGPT, it turns out stuff we can't use. Well, not necessarily. Like this is basically a code output. And you're kind of up to the whims of that, but you can always follow up with that. So it did give me an email and it clearly outlined this, but what I did, so please provide an output I can copy and paste into my email. So I'm going to use this as my start. Certainly. So ChatGPT now pulls out something a little bit more detailed. And it gets a little bit more granular. I hope it's a little bit more polite. Sometimes I can be a little more analytical. I play with the team. I'm keenly looking forward to blah, blah, blah. So, and then it clearly outlines everything I have talked about and a handful of bullets. And then summarizes very well as well. So my stream of consciousness has now been put together to a nice, clean email. Now, I don't put this in verbatim. I always read it over because sometimes you got to account for some potential hallucinations where it starts going off the tracks. You want to make sure that it's only talking about what you're mentioning. But this is one of those great use cases that I will use multiple times in a day. All right, documentation. I got this one set up here. So what I have, I've developed a playbook for how to optimize content. And I love this playbook. It's a PDF, looks beautiful, it's designed. We used to give it out to clients all the time. It's starting to get a little bit dated, but it's still pretty evergreen content. So we can use this to upload content. And even if you create your own GPTs, you can create your own little bot that specifically knows this knowledge set. And what I can do then when I have that information in there is I can use it to provide detailed description. So if I'm doing an analysis for a client, and we've uploaded this explanation of how we approach, there's multiple points in here where we talk about titles. Titles are a key part in SEO. And I'll be like, based on this attached guidelines, please create an explanation of how to approach titles in SEO. And then it broke this out. And you'll see it's like approach titles in SEO is explained in the SEO Brunch blog optimization playbook, involves a few key strategies. So then I can explain in detail in here. Now, what I can also ask for that, let's say, please summarize for an analysis document. We are suggesting a update the titles to align better. Keep it short. Now it's going to go back, and you can always, whatever you're doing with your explanations, you can always, whatever it outputs, you can always go back and tweak this a little bit. So now this was quite a word salad of a lot of information. And now we can get into a little bit more detail, or we can get a little bit more summarized, a little bit more concise. Make it more concise is one of the more regular follow-up prompts that I'll do on a regular basis, because sometimes it's just too wordy. And if I'm doing an analysis document, I'm talking about 20 different points that we want them to focus on the blog post. They don't need to read through this every time. But by giving it a source to work with, we can quickly come up with shorter versions of this. And then when we're creating documentation, we can go back and reference this. And it gets really powerful too. With the paid account, you can create your own GPTs and create specific use cases. We have one that I basically call my SEO coordinator. And I've been feeding it all my training information whenever I do seminars. And I use it to summarize the why when we ask a client to do something. So I don't have to repurpose this each time we do it. Oh, Robert's asking, how are you using the free version of Chat GPT in these examples? I'm using the paid version only because I find if we were to use the free version, we can't upload videos. And there's a lot of we can't upload documents, and there's a few limitations on that. So when we're using the free version, I would start off with playing with that to see what you can do. You're going to have a limitation on character count, so that's something to keep in mind. But if you've got a friend that's using the paid version, they'll have a couple trials. So I would recommend, if anybody's really starting to go down that, to ask their friend for one of those free trials, just so you can get there and play with it and see if there's an example that you can use in there. All right, jumping back in. Contract reviews. This one I found really powerful. One thing I will say, I'm going to see if I can get this to trigger. Every time I pull away from this, it doesn't, it resets it, so we don't actually see the analysis. But let me explain what happens here. So I've uploaded here the most recent Apple service agreement documentation. It's 650 pages long. And how many of us have actually read through all 650 pages of that piece of content? None of us. I've never read through it, I'll be quite honest. I might go and dig into things. Does take a little bit of time, but what it'll do is start summarizing things. about this documentation. And now once it's loaded in, you can ask specific questions. Like, based on this documentation, does Apple own all of my work on my computer? You can ask us specific questions. I'll use this for NDA reviews. If I get a contract from somebody, and we like to do case studies when we have client work. And are there any limitations to if we were to do case studies? So, okay. Sometimes it just doesn't work quite right. It might be the limitation of the document. Based on the documentation, does Apple? I'll give it one more try, and then we'll just move on, because this is a pretty extensive use case where I was trying to push a 650-page PDF in here to do it. If you're using the free version and you don't have that ability to upload the full documentation, you can look for specific clauses that you're curious about, because you do have limitations on how much text you can put in, and get it to review those specific clauses and ask questions about that. Right, one more regeneration. Nope, not going to happen for us today. That's fair. I did get it to work yesterday, and I wish it would have saved, because it was really powerful. Okay, just jumping into the chat here. Do you need to write based on this documentation? I've been doing that just because I find, actually, you know what? That's a good point, because the syntax, based on this contract or service agreement, maybe it is the sometimes it doesn't store the conversation. You can get it to do things because you're going through this conversation. I have found, and my grammar's not great, as I said earlier, I'm not a writer. It does correct my grammar, and it's sort of like the autocomplete on Google. It will do it based on what I'll just write it out. I normally don't even check for spelling mistakes, and it does a pretty good job. If there are issues, I will go back and check. So, still not working. So based on this service agreement, yeah, what I have found with is with I will try to keep my directions pretty clean and clear, even if it does feel a little bit redundant. And if I do find a prompt that works really well, I will keep a running document of prompts that I found that have worked well, and highlight it by the use case that I used it for, and then use that as a starting point for future prompts. Great questions, everybody. Does anybody else have any questions? And I can go back as well before I move on to the next spot, the next use case. Capitalization is capitalization. So Robert asks, is capitalization and punctuation necessary? I haven't found it. Much like in Google, like we're doing SEO, people never put a question mark at the end of a question when they ask a question in Google. So when we do keyword research, we always strip the question off, even though naturally you should have the question mark. So you have that upper inflection if it was red at the end to indicate that it's a question. But I have found not necessary, but if you're having issues with your prompt, it's worthwhile going back and to see if the way I explain this is clear. And if not, to update. So we went through email communication, some documentation review, contract reviews, and then repurposing transcriptions has been really powerful as well. So I uploaded an SEO brunch that I did recently.
Hey, Michael.
Yes.
Quick question. You're again, no shocker here. We get lots of good questions because this is such amazing information. Somebody just said, can you highlight the pricing for Chat GPT? I'm not sure if it was like, and I don't want to I hate to break up your thought. I just was
it's $20 US a month.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just like, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you want to start playing with the API, it starts getting interesting. But I wouldn't start playing with the API unless you come from a development background. There's so much you can do with that $20 account. You get access to 4 for one. You don't get kicked out if anybody's using 3 and they've noticed that at busy times, like when the West Coast comes online, it's too busy. You got to sit in a queue. There is limits to it, but you have to really push it to get it. I push it on a semi-regular basis. But and then you also can create your own GPTs and keep them private, or you can share them as well, so you can train them up. So that's yeah. If anybody's looking to explore it, that's where I would start. Wouldn't throw thousands of dollars into some AI consultant or anything. I would start playing in Chat GPT, the Pro account, and maybe see if you've got any existing software that's doing transcriptions, because transcriptions are a really interesting use case. So I uploaded this transcription. It was an hour and a half long. When we first started playing with transcriptions in GPT, we used to copy the text file over, and if it did about 20 minutes cleanly, roughly about 20 minutes. So if I talked to somebody for an hour, I had to break that up into 3 chunks to get it to process, to get for meetings. For me, importance are key takeaways and what are the action items. Now with this, you can export that document, upload that document, and it can process the whole thing. This conversation was almost 2 hours long. And I asked, I would like to prepare some documentation for a meeting I had and would like you to prepare a list of key takeaways and action items from this transcription, the prompt I'm using for this one. And ChatGPT came back with, based on this transcription of the SEO brunch meeting, here are the key takeaway action items. Key takeaways: SEO for early stage founders. So early stage companies can implement basic strategies, et cetera, et cetera. Content importance, use of transcription AI tools. If you can't tell, I've talked about the transcription and AI tools, a little bit meta here. Sales and marketing alignment, SEO strategy adjustments. So were there any action items? So enhance your early stage SEO, develop quality content, align sales and marketing efforts, monitor and adjust SEO strategies, utilize transcription AI tools, foster interdepartmental collaboration. So, oh, that's interesting, Shannon. I was not aware of it. So Shannon just mentioned that she looked at upgrading to a pro account, but they have temporarily put upgrades on hold due to high demand. You can join the wait list. Oh, I'm so sorry no one's able to jump in. And I'm all out of I used up all my referrals. Otherwise, I would offer one up if somebody was really interested. So this is the output I'm getting: key takeaways and action items. Copy that over to meeting notes, keep a running track of that. But also, like, there were some good talks in here. Like, can you outline a blog post from this transcription? So a follow-up prompt based on this. Certainly. Here's an outline for a blog post based on the transcriptions of the SEO brunch meeting. I trend to not get it to write specific blog posts. I find even if I asked it to write the blog post based on this transcription, I'll get a really subpar blog post. But if I ask it to outline it, then I can start getting it to expand on these specific parts. So it's giving me a title: Mastering SEO for Early Stage Companies, Insight from SEO Brunch. Let's have an introduction. Here's your steps in here. I can go back and start asking it, like, can you help me outline this introduction? Give me a brief overview of the SEO brunch event, importance of SEO for early stage companies, preview key insights. So I can start asking for these specific parts. I'll have a running Google Doc, and I'll start building out my posts based on that. I find also when you're doing it more of this piecemeal chunks kind of approach, you're still adding your own flair, your own tone and voice to the content, but you're getting a starting point so you don't get stuck with that writer's block. So then it starts outlining the rest of the post. So section 1, basic SEO strategies for startups. Here's your details. I can start moving on to here, start breaking out all these individual pieces. Section 2, the evolving role of content in SEO, break out that part. Section 3, leveraging transcription AI for content creation. And it goes on and breaks out all the individual sections. Then we get conclusions. It tells me to put in a call to action. I have a running GPT that's trained up on our approach to content. So I'll use that when I'm doing these types of questions, because then it'll add our SEO elements to it as well as we're creating that. And then as well, like, this post is great. We can start getting our social media outputs for this as well. So once we get our piece of content created, we can go back and say, hey, this post outline is great. Can you give me some LinkedIn post suggestions? Yeah. All right. post suggestions when I am ready to promote this. Again, I gotta just hit, because you can see some poor grammar in here as well. Prop mode, is that really where, is it going to really understand what I'm saying? I'm asking about LinkedIn, I'm asking about posts. I think it's going to understand it. Trying to promote this blog post. Please. I always like to, excuse me, to ask, please give me a few options to pick from, because the first go is never really great. And this, you can merge and combine a bunch of these. And sometimes I find it's a little too salesy. It's a little bit too pushy. It doesn't align with how I like to communicate things. So you can go back and start adding those caveats. You can also go into, and say, hey, I like 2 and 3, or I like the way you introduce 2, but I like your outline for 3. And this is a great way to get your social media posts out there quickly. You're not sitting there trying to fumble through, trying to summarize things and get, things. Oh, network error. Oh, of course, only when we're trying to do stuff, eh? I guess it's really busy today, eh? So you can see engaging focused posts. Excited to share my latest post, material mastering SEO for early stage companies, blah, blah, blah. So gives you a few options. You can go back and refine that and explore it a little bit further. Okay, I'm going to move along. I just realized we got 20 minutes left, and I'm okay to stay a little bit longer, but we'll keep moving along here. I'll let that one populate, but data cleanup, a use case we've used quite a bit. So if we go into data cleanup here, what I did is I actually uploaded an early registration list in here. Now I removed the people from it. I just put where you're from and what company you work for. And you got that information. They're in 2 columns. How can I take that information and get useful? I want to know everybody who's in Amherst, for an example. So the data from the CSV file, CSV is a spreadsheet, just the more text version of it. It's been organized to group organizations under each corresponding city. Here's a view. Oh, sorry. The prompt is, please organize the organizations under the column of the same name. So the output is grouped under each corresponding city under the city column. So I don't know if I can't open that up right now, but the data from the CSV file has been organized. So now we've got Amherst organizations. Now you'll notice, kind of like, it doesn't want to do all the work right off the bat. So you can ask it, and it'll say at the end, this is so your output here has got a lot. It's a little truncated. It's a bit of a sample of things. There's just a sample from the top of the list. If you need more details or a complete list, please let me know. So please let me know. So please output this complete list. This is our follow-up prompt in here. And the complete list of cities, the corresponding organizations. So we got in here, it's changed our formatting. I do find this interesting with Chat GPT. We like the first formatting. If I added that caveat into this follow-up prompt, it would do it in the previous one. But now we can see it's doing it as a comma separated value. But in Amherst, we had 2 people from the same business, and we could ask it to remove duplicates. The way of quickly organizing information. So sometimes we would go through and we'd be manually taking a spreadsheet and piecing all those pieces together to try to get something that we can use and in a text explanation. And this is a great way of taking that information and getting a first pass on it and clean things up. This is a simple use case. We've expanded on this and done it with a lot more involved data sets and had really good return from it. And the other use case we use it on a regular basis is content analysis. So oh, our content analysis isn't in there anymore. Oh, content analysis. There we go. Excuse me. This one, I will add a caveat. The ability in 4 to analyze live URLs is newer and doesn't work all the time. And it will actually tell you it can't analyze URLs, but we've brute forced it by just trying over and over again and gotten it to work. Sometimes it works right off the bat, but this is kind of a sample prompt we'll use as review our piece of content. So I've used this novascotia.com, trip ideas. We're trying to rank for the term. So an SEO use case, things to do in Halifax. Review our piece of content, blah. So this perfect 3-day Halifax itinerary. Compared to the top 3 pieces of content, rounding at bad grammar again, the top 4 positions for things to do in Halifax. And then I've included those other links in here. So TripAdvisor, they have a post about it. Discover Halifax, Nova Scotia has a thing to do. And this traveling things to do in Halifax. And tell me what we could add to ours to outperform it. So it reviews it. This site offers a list of the top 15 things to do in Halifax. So it'll go through and analyze this content and starts giving you direction on how you can improve your piece of content. And this is one of the really interesting use cases from an SEO standpoint. We haven't been able to do it 100% at scale right now, but this saves us a lot of time on analysis. I will, again, caveat that may not work right off the bat. Sometimes you have to PDF it and upload the file so you can at least has content to review, so it doesn't have to go out, it uses Bing and visit the site and analyze the content. Sometimes as well, websites can block Chat GPT from analyzing their content, and so you won't be able to get that in. It'll just do assumptions based on what it sees in the search results. But it gets into great detail here about where our opportunities lie, and then we can summarize all this information, pass off to a content writer, and say, hey, this is what we're seeing in the top 5. We want our piece to be in, just maintain the top spot. So this is a second place position, but this is a great use case to get things up and to provide direction to a content writer that's analyzing the content without going into without having a human go through and read through each post and then try to associate what's different about this and that. And then we can follow up with with a content brief for this. Now we have our own content brief sample that we've uploaded into our own tool, but there's lots of content brief examples out there that you can find that are available for free, PDF versions or whatnot, and give this outline. So we've asked it to create a content brief that we can pass off to the content creator. So things to do in Halifax, we've got our target keyword here. We got some keyword considerations, how it would process things. I think actually we've included our playbook in here so it can get a little bit more detailed on that. And then you can play around with these prompts to get an output that you can just directly bring to people. Before I move on, was there any other questions?
Was there ever? So one of the questions was, you know what? And if you've already covered it, apologies. Do you feel it would be more honest to note somewhere at the bottom that your email is written with the assistance of Chat GPT? And
that's a good point.
Can I
people
just add in?
Yeah.
Sorry, that on Grammarly, which I use, there's an AI function, and it actually gives you the option to enter in the kind of assistance at the bottom kind of thing. So yeah, I bet you that will become a prompt that you'll be able to add in soon. But anyways, again, sorry for cutting you off, Michael.
No, that's all right, Nick. And I think it's a really interesting question. It depends where you where I guess how you feel about it. I do know a handful of people that work regularly with AI that are content creators that instead of putting a caveat that they've created with AI, because we're assuming almost everyone's created something with AI at this point or played with it when they're seeing communication, they put a notice at the bottom saying that they haven't. And they're not so concerned about the email communication part necessarily. I wouldn't just automatically create it and send it out. Just use it as a way to kind of analyze it. I mean, I don't post that I've used spell check in my emails, but I definitely, if everyone's watched me write prompts here, definitely use spell check on a regular basis. So it's really kind of up to your comfort level. When it's just simple communications, I don't think there's any additional need to. I know at one point we all used to have at the bottom of our emails, this was sent from my phone to kind of excuse things. And I haven't seen one of those in a couple of years. So it's up to your comfort level. I would say simple communication going back and forth. I wouldn't be so concerned about it. It's become such a part of our process, and we're seeing it so much in the industry that we don't get, no one else is doing it that I've seen in our industry, at least. So
Michael, I think I would look at it as almost a gut check. You know, if you've taken something and you've used multiple prompts and you made it your own and you've really utilized it that way, whereas getting something to do 99% for you, you may feel you want to slap that on there, but I think the way that
Yeah.
we all intend to use it is as a tool like spell check, Grammarly, or anything like that. Um, I'll keep going because again we are short on time, and
Hmm.
um, always showcases a great webinar and we get lots of great questions. So this is from Jonathan. What are some good AI apps for ad design and t-shirt slash logo design? I've used Bing before, which Jonathan, I've never thought anyone would. I've never heard Bing so much in the last 6 months because I never
Yeah.
heard about it before. I knew about it but didn't hear about it. So that's a great question.
Dali's been great. There's a couple of tools, and I'll look it up. There's one that does like it's like a basic branding tool that'll help you create logos quickly. Um, I wouldn't use a logo creator just verbatim unless you just need to get something out really quick. From a design standpoint, Photoshop has integrated AI into their platform. I don't touch images a lot. To be quite honest, what I did, some of the images generated in here were done with DALI, but that's right in Chat GPT right now. So yeah, I would. There's got to be some people out there from the design standpoint that are exploring it. I will look up that tool. Someone shared it that does help you quickly create branding, which is really nice to do when you're just playing with an idea. I'd
So,
still involve a proper branding person when you're ready to do a proper logo. They're probably leveraging AI, but having that expert run the tool is kind of the really great power. Like there's great tools that do auto mechanic that help auto mechanics perform well. I'm probably not going to use them, but I would love to have an auto mechanic that's using it for an
so
example.
Michael, so how do you spell that software you're saying?
Oh, DALI,
Yeah.
DALLE,
Okay.
hyphen E.
Okay. And we'll share that out after. But I think that Jonathan owns a business in Yarmouth, and he would be an accommodation operator. And I'm assuming we're talking he will be the one probably creating his own t-shirt design, or I'm assuming, or just a quick ad for maybe a weekend murder mystery, or something like those kind of things.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, Jonathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but so it wouldn't be necessarily branding, but
Okay. I play with the paid version of ChatGPT. If you can get on the waiting list and get in there, you can do some really cool stuff right in there and get it to help you create the copy as well and the imagery.
I've
Um,
heard some good things about uh, with Canva AI as
yeah,
well.
I've
So
heard
let's
good
keep
things
going.
as well.
Yeah, mostly Facebook ads from Jonathan. So another questions. I've heard that Bing Chat is powered by GPT-4. You can use it for free, which
I
which
know it's powered by GPT. Yeah.
we've heard multiple. So we've had, of course, the um, luck of having a few AI presenters in the last few weeks over different conferences, and they've all said, you can access GPT-4 through Bing for
Hmm.
free, but of course you're going to be a little bit limited by not having it like controlled within your own kind of account, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll caveat with that is, in here it's going to save your stuff. You can always go back. I mean, I set these up a couple days ago. I was able to go back. Sometimes it disappears. If you go into like my GPTs, you can create specific use cases, and then it'll save that detail. See if it loads here. So if you want to play around in Bing. I mean, Bing's got a bigger market share because they invested heavily in ChatGPT and for their search results. But yeah, if you create your own, you could start basically building a bot in here with plain language and then uploading documentation to help inform that. So yeah, great place to start, Bing search results or the free version of ChatGPT or Perplexity. And then when you're ready to take it to that next level and you got specific use cases, you want to be able to save some of this information, then you can start looking at that paid account.
Um, that's great feedback. We had another question is, I tried to ask ChatGPT to analyze my website and got the answer that it can't access external websites. Is this because it's the free version?
It might be in the free version. I do know we'll get that same error in 4 we'll brute force it. If you want to hack or work around right now, print your web page. It won't be able to crawl through the whole site, but if you're looking at specific pages, print that page as a PDF and then upload it. I believe the documentation part is only available in 4 though, if you want to upload a document to it. And then it'll be able to analyze the PDF version of your website. But it can do the URLs. It's just kind of, I don't think it's supposed to, or it doesn't do it every time.
So these are, you know what, again, awesome questions. But what I would say is Michael's going to be soon added as a one-on-one through Digiport. So if you want to, again, take an hour, I'm not sure how long the sessions are, we'll say an hour, and dive into one of these topics, you book Michael through Digiport, or contact him after the fact if you'd like to work, around outside the program. But these sound like, really great questions, and probably something that Michael could handle pretty quickly with his knowledge. Just being a little bit aware of time. We're at 10:55. So again, email us, ask us any questions after the fact, but and maybe we might want to Sunny add another webinar down the road on, maybe diving into one or two of these individual areas.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think I'll just, if does it make sense to pass things back over to you right now, Nick?
Was
Are
that
there any more questions?
You're at the end?
Well, like I have a few more slides to go through, but I had a feeling that we would when we get into the use cases, it can get really involved. So there's a few more slides, but we mostly jump into the Q&A part. So can open it up to Q&A.
I mean, if you want to continue to go through, and then again, anyone on the call, feel free to jump in and ask me questions. Again, Michael, my apologies. I normally never speak this much, but it's just kind of felt appropriate today.
That's fair.
So why don't you keep going, and we'll just finish up at the appropriate time whenever, and we'd hate to stop you though.
No, that's fair. I will say a couple of use cases we're seeing for tourism and operators, chatbots and virtual assistants, your CRM system. There's probably an AI already integrated in your CRM system. Great way to quickly sort through data, pull that information out. Social media management tools. You can use Chat GPT even from just to create that stuff, but there's AI being integrated into a lot of the management tools. Predictive analytics, so it's helpful to be able to organize that kind of information. SEO and content creation, that's really my wheelhouse. That's where we use AI tools on a regular basis. And feedback, review analysis, also helpful when you've got a pile of feedbacks and you just want to get kind of the tone of what people are saying and understand what the general idea or the general feel of things. Say you had a big event and you got a pile of feedback. You want to review all those reviews that came back there. You don't want to read through each and every one. You want to pinpoint. You can export all that information in and plug it into a tool like that. Getting into operational efficiency, super helpful. Email marketing as well. These are all being integrated into the tools. Integrating AI. So I think this is really important section. I'm glad we're getting a couple minutes to go through this as well. So AI should complement and enhance your current operations, not complicate things. So the goal here is to make your life easier, not harder. We're not trying to add a pile of layers to something that doesn't need layers at this point. I've seen a lot of AI use cases that could be handled with a simple find and replace, but people just want to really explore that tool. And I would recommend experiment. So first off, begin with accessible AI tools. Chat GPT is a really great example. Perplexity, that's the free tool I was talking about that cite sources. Go into those, play around. Apply to some simple tasks, content creation, FAQ responses, analyzing feedback, experiment and really start to understand what the practical capabilities and limits are at this moment. If you're watching this in 2 weeks, it's probably going to have grown as well. So, keep on top of this and assess AI's relevance to specific business needs before advancing. So you just don't want to throw a pile of money at the problem. You want to analyze, start playing with things, figure out your use case, and then really start exploring how you can leverage AI in that specific use case. Be cautious. Everyone's got AI as part of their service offering now. There's a handful of AI consultants that have come up that probably don't really know AI. So avoid adopting AI tools and add-ons without a clear purpose. We're guilty of this. A lot of our tools added AI. It was an add-on. We started playing with it and this is just a poor version of Chat GPT, really. It wasn't really a strong use case. But then there's been other ones like the Fireflies AI integration that was really strong. And even though it is kind of leveraging that Chat GPT place, the one thing we like about it, it's a closed system. So we don't have to worry about confidential information getting out, as well as the chatbot's built right in to the tool. So we go in, review the transcription, we can ask good questions there. Understand risks of hastily AI implementation. You don't want to increase your complexity. Don't want to make things too expensive, and things are going to change. There's going to be some disruption in the next little bit. So don't just jump into something. Don't sign up for a year-long contract unless it's a really good price that you're getting from it, because things are going to be shifting and changing very quickly. And if you're getting into advanced implementations, consider advancing AI implementations as familiarity grows. You want to understand your use case, and really be able to work with the person that's going to help you with this implementation to make it do what you want it to do. Consult AI experts for complex tasks like data analytics and automation. You're an operator for a tourism business, you probably don't want to get into doing machine learning or writing Python scripts or anything like that, unless it's a hobby. And even then, you probably want an expert that can do something really quickly. Leverage expert knowledge for smooth integration and better ROI. So there's experts out there. You're going to have to weed through a lot of people, but there's lots of experts out there. Hilton has a great example. So they've embraced AI pretty early on too, and they've got AI-powered assistants, and they're using data analytics to improve customer satisfaction and retention. I'll send a link out to this article in here as well. And they're a big organization, so they're able to roll things out like this. But they were also an early adopter, which is really useful. It helps to get ahead of things, but it's easier when you've got that big organization behind you to do things. And yeah, I'll open it up to questions. And I'm happy to jump back into Chat GPT. Oh, yeah, sorry, Nick. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say thanks, Michael. Actually, one person said, "Don't rush through, don't stop. We want to see." It's great info. So I'm glad you did that. Again, if anyone has any questions, or if you feel like maybe we didn't really get into your question enough, you know what? Book Michael. He'll be up and running soon on with Digiport. So, and if not, maybe touch base with them and kind of check in with that. I think that the power of AI is just you're missing the boat big time if you don't get on now. So it's a real great opportunity for everyone involved. So is there any extra questions we have? Can you give me an example of how DALL-E works?
Oh, that's a great use case. Let's jump in here. I'm going to start a new one. I would, so create an image with DALL-E about Nova Scotia and tourism. Oh. Really testing its spelling comprehension. Yep. And let's add a caveat to this. No lighthouses, please. Do we really need to see another lighthouse?
Definitely. I'm sorry.
What I've done actually, when I got the outline for this presentation together, I went in and said, hey, for every agenda piece, create me an image. And I went through and created it. And then I all kept it in the same style too. So there's consistency throughout the documentation as well. But here's a
did you have to start, did you have to upload like an existing document to show your style, or how did it learn your style to match?
I just went with whatever it came out with at first. Okay. You can upload documents to give it like a bit of a style. I would do it as a custom GPT though.
That's awesome.
Look, not a lighthouse in there, eh?
Got a whale though.
We got a whale, and that whale's going to hit that boat.
Yeah, like there's a whole lot of a safety challenge. Could you then say put life jackets on all the people in the boat?
Yeah, I think there's some on there, but yeah, let's give them.
I couldn't see. I'm just interesting to see how the functions work.
Let's give people the boat, life jackets, and the whale a mustache. Let's see what comes out of this. Might take a while to process this, but and it might go off the rails. I've actually just started playing with DALL-E. We don't deal with images a whole lot. We didn't pay for it as a standalone service before, and now they integrate in Chat GPT. Now it's becoming a regular thing for us to do.
But this seems like the kind of thing where you would kind of say image created by that, I mean, unless it has a watermark on it. Like this is exactly the kind of thing where I would be like, yeah, that's hilarious.
There we go.
It's awesome. Now they're riding the whale.
Yeah. Safety is really out the door now. Well, other than the half life jackets.
That's cool though. So I mean, I literally I have 100 questions, so I'll just stop though. So any tips on creating standard prompts or protocols for repetitive use?
I keep a running Google Doc of all the prompts I like that are successful. And I'll share this afterwards as well. My friend Joel Kelly from Kelford Labs, local marketing firm, he's been playing with AI on a regular basis. Him and I meet on a regular basis just to talk about our use cases. He's created a blog post on AI prompt design that I regularly go into. The more detail you can do, the better. I've been loving creating custom GPTs because you can add that element by default, so you can keep it to really short sentences to get what you want out, because the functionality has been built into that custom GPT. A great question.
And another question was, so DALL-E is embedded in Chat GPT, and I think that you had indicated it was embedded in GPT-4.
To the best of my knowledge, yeah.
Now, to
the best of my knowledge, it is. I don't think it's in 3. Sorry, that's what
somebody above mentioned that they had tried to upgrade to a pro account, but it was temporarily put upgrades on hold due to high demand to join a wait list. And that's what I understand, happens. So that's just put yourself on the wait list and hopefully they'll be able to accept your money soon.
Yeah, it is resource heavy, and that's one of those interesting things that they're trying to deal with. And with time, they're getting better at making it less heavy on the resources so that they can allow more people to use it.
Yeah, you're right. Another important question from Melanie Lowe was, where's the lobster, Michael? And
that's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it process again, but that lobster should have a goatee.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm all about facial hair right now, but
these are all great questions, and thank you, Mel, for that very important piece about lobster. Let's see, we have again lots of great questions. I think that the value in this webinar is that it just can be literally put to use, at 11:08 when you get off this call. I mean, you could use it for so many different areas of your business, responding to challenging emails, and again, it's just drawing on other people's knowledge to help you build the best answer possible, or whatever it could be. We talked about cancellation policies or all sorts of different things, blog posts. So unless there's anything else, I will I'll take back over from Michael. And Michael, are you still?
One more thing I wanted to bring up, a podcast I find really interesting called GPT Reviews. It's actually generated by a handful of GPTs. I think they have 3 different GPTs that talk to each other, and they present the news around AI, and they put out a post every day. It's a mix of humor but delivered by a robot, so it's kind of dry and weird, which resonates with me. But it does keep you abreast of what's happening with AI and what's new and exciting. And it can get a little technical, but then they throw in some humor to kind of offset that. So if you get a chance, take a listen to this. And I listen to it on a regular basis. My kids get a kick out of it. They have fake sponsors in it that are all generated by AI too, which are hilarious because they're kind of garbage on purpose. But yeah, that's the last thing I'll add, Nick. Thank you.
Well, that's great information. So I'll take back over. Thank you so much, Michael. That was really, really excellent information. What will AI look like in 3 to 5 years? Last question. 3 to 5 months. Yeah.
If I knew. Last year, I logged into Chat GPT and got to write stupid songs for me about Christmas in style of people and styles of people. And then I got a paid account in January. And then we started integrating it in February. And now it's like an employee almost. It's just something I have to deal with on a daily basis. So I wish I could tell you what's going to be in 3 and 5 years. It's going to be crazy. Or it could just be it'll be the norm.
Yeah. the few people we've seen present said it'll be just so mainstream that you don't want to get sorry about that, you don't want to get left behind. So that is absolutely great. The questions were excellent. So I'm just going to just bear with me here for a second. Take the screen back over. Thank you, Michael. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Nick. And thanks, everybody.
All right, I'm back. So I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. We have another exciting webinar on January 4th, and it's user-generated content. So that's turning customers into advocates. It's presented by Ingrid Dion, and then after that, there's a workshop. It's called 3 Sessions, Influencer Marketing on a Budget. So they'll all build off each other. It's presented by Ingrid Dion with WordCraft. We've had Ingrid here a number of times. She's an excellent presenter, and I'd really encourage you to check that out if you have any questions around turning customers into advocates, which is a wonderful thing. Our digital content marketing program applied today. Application deadline is 4 o'clock on December 15th. If you'd like to find out anything more about this program, you can check our website. In this program, you collaborate with Tourism Nova Scotia to create high-quality photos and videos to use in your marketing or to develop digital marketing campaigns to raise awareness of your business or community. Great opportunity, excellent program. So check it out. If you'd like to stay connected with us, send us an email, tnsbusiness@novascotia.ca if you have an idea for a webinar. Our corporate website is tourismns.ca. Novascotia.com is our call to action. That's where we send all of our marketing. Tourism and news and resources. So that's any programming, this webinar, any relevant information will be shared there. You can sign up for our news and resources. We are on Twitter or X at tourismns, and we're also at LinkedIn on Tourism Nova Scotia. Thank you for joining us today, and hope you have a wonderful day.